This is Back of the Net and Beyond. My name's Danny Thomas. Today I'm going to be speaking to Leon Constantine, who's a former professional footballer who played for Leeds United, Millwall and Brentford, as well as many other clubs. How's it going, mate? You okay?
Yeah, everything's good, mate. Not. It's been a long time, innit, man?
Tell me about it.
Been a long time.
Thinking beforehand, it's probably 2009, 10 that we last seen each other.
Mostly something like that, do you know what I mean? But good to see you looking well, looking healthy and everything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Man. Still looking young.
Trying, man. I need a haircut, though. That's going to get sorted on Saturday. So once I get my haircut, I feel like I'm back in the game, you know what I
mean? Feel like a new man. Nah, that's good, man. That's
good. Everything's fine, though, man. So, yeah, I mean, really good to catch up. Appreciate you having me on. And happy to kind of, share a little insight into, obviously, my background and everything like that. So, yeah.
All good. Appreciate you coming on. So, I mean, like, in terms of life at the moment, kind of how's life for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, like, I live, obviously, my base is London. And my family are in Manchester. Okay. And, like I said, she just said, I've got a newborn, he's 18 months now, so he's still young. And before that, he was kind of half traveling back and forth, because, my missus got a daughter and they got their life up here as well. So, we've made it work for 5.5, coming up 6 years, and it's been fine. But although we're going through mostly one of the most difficult times in regards to this pandemic, it's actually been a blessing for me because I've been able to stay up here since March.
Nice.
Like literally full time.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Every day waking up with my family, day-to-day stuff and things like that. So it's been, as much as it's difficult and it's been hard, and I wouldn't like to, these situations ever arise again. But I'm just saying, for me on a personal note, it's given me enough time to spend time with my family and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, that's that. This time I've spent, would have took me years because, normally I come up on a Thursday, stay to maybe the Monday, then I'm back grinding down in London and doing what I'm doing. So, you know what I mean? When you add up those days, and every other week sometimes, this has been a blessing.
Yeah, that's massive. And I mean, it's good that you found a positive out of like the current situation. I mean, it's different for everyone, different for every household. And many, many times you hear people say kind of in general or on the news, like we're all in the same boat. But I don't believe we are, because I think we're all in the same storm, but we're not all in the same boat, if that makes sense. Because people have got different scenarios within their household, within their lives. Some people haven't got jobs and things. So yes, we're all in the same kind of scenario, but we've got different kind of elements to it. So it's good that you found the positives. And like you said, it probably would have taken you all those years to maybe build up this time frame with your family in this kind of short space of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're obviously enjoying that time, and obviously family time is invaluable anyway, as you all know. But yeah, so like,
it's the most important time. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's it. Exactly that. So again, everyone's got a different scenario, different story to tell. For me personally, like the lockdown, I wouldn't say it's been a blessing in disguise, but I've taken the positives out of it. I kind of started the podcast during the lockdown. Just started a new job. I was always in full-time employment throughout the whole of kind of lockdown situation anyway. So I know it's different for different people, but we all just need to try and do as we can, really. But yeah, so
no, 100%, yeah.
Obviously, we know you used to be a professional footballer, played for many, many clubs and kind of up and down the country, and you've had a great career. And our paths crossed probably, as I mentioned, 2009, 2010, when you were at Hereford. I think you just signed, and I was like in between clubs, so I was kind of on trial there. Didn't work out, and I went elsewhere. But that generally happens kind of quite a lot in football anyway. So we haven't
of course,
many, many years now. We haven't spoken, but do you want to just let everyone know what you're doing now? Because obviously you're not playing anymore. So what's your kind of
so basically, I think like a lot of people, when you come to the end of football, I think it's very few and far between people that actually plan their retirement. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I take my hat off to those people, because you know what? they've organised themselves. I wasn't the most organised person. I'm still ain't, you know what I mean? I'm a very very off the cuff kind of person. Do you know what I mean? But when I'm into something, I'm into it. But I can't plan. I'm not right next week. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really that kind of person.
Yeah.
So when mostly like a lot of other people and vast majority of footballers, when that time come where I realised I just couldn't get back to the Leon Constantine that was, a goal scorer, the knee injury, even though I could still physically play, the sharpness and the worry of that knee injury in my head, you know what I mean? It got to a stage where I just couldn't do it no more. And that come like that.
Okay.
And it hit me really. And it hit me, about 2 years, I was, went through a depression where like, I just, wow, like football's come to an end. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like I was 25, 26 when that happened. I was like 30 plus. So really and truly, I should have known it was coming. But it's like, you love the game so much.
Yeah.
You kind of like feel like it's never going to come to an end. And, in a sense, that kind of like, made it a bit more difficult in terms of, transition period. But, once we got over, that 2 years really, I went about starting my academy, which was like with an education program. I started that with Steve Claridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was doing basically football education because I kind of looked at it and said, you know what, I want to give something back. I'm back in back in London, so to speak. I want to give something back to the area, and to these kids who, might not be able to perform in school. I got to university for a BTEC myself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, just because I couldn't perform in exams, like failed my GCSEs, not because I was silly, just overthinking questions, running out of time, the same old jazz that everybody goes through. When I'd done a BTEC, which was just coursework based, I passed it with flying colours. A distinction, which was I think 2 A levels, and I got to go to Luton University and do a 2-year degree in media.
Wow.
And but then I left that because I turned professional football a lot sooner than I anticipated. So my thing was, I know there's a lot of kids, especially, in London, who are mostly in the same boat as myself, not silly, but maybe attention span, things like that. So I thought, one of these football programs, with an education, it'd be me giving something back to the kids, bit of experience, knowledge. I wouldn't say they really appreciated it. These kids are not even like when we were kids, because if these programs were available when I was their age, I mean, you would have had me every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just the thought of playing football and doing, basically coursework without no proper, the pressures of an exam, you would have had my attention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We run that for 3 years. Due to the pandemic, it kind of put a halt to it because our recruitment phase of going into schools and career fairs, which is where you do your recruiting through March all the way through to the summer, that obviously got halted due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it really done me a favor because in the back of my head, I've always wanted to start my development center.
Okay.
Yeah, which was just to develop kids, not run the team or anything like that, but just teach kids the fundamental skills on what it takes to become a better footballer. Not necessarily a pro. Yeah. Obviously, if you've got that ability with my, help and guidance, then, we can maybe help you go all the way. But, just improving yourself, your inner self, really. Yeah. And it gave me the chance to, that's why I say about this pandemic has been quite good, because give me the kick up the backside to get that going. On top of that as well, I work as a consultant for an agency.
Wow. A lot going on.
So yeah, a lot. And it's all geared towards football. But yeah, we just, taking, again, Lyle Taylor from Charlton to Nottingham Forest during this window was quite a big one. And it was just nice to see, a player, again, who was a good player, might not have had the right people around him and just never really got his just deserves. And, you know, it's just shown with the right kind of, you know, not people, you know, like sometimes you've got an agent or, you know, someone who just basically listens to everything you say, like, you know, because all they're thinking about is keeping you happy.
That's it, yeah.
I think with Lyle, we've got such a good relationship, not just me, but I mean the team, like the agency as a whole, where we're honest with each other. Do you know what I mean? And I think the conversations that we have outside of football has really, really helped him.
Okay.
Because he's got the ability. He's always had the ability. Do you know what I mean? His ability is, everyone knows, he's second to none. Do you know what I mean? But I just think that that other support that you need off the pitch in order for you to bring your best on the pitch is what we've done, and that's what's been massive. And it's been such a good journey so far, and we're still going. And you know, just obviously, you know, I've got a few other young players, and just still trying to look for a few more. But the right people, you know, the ones that, you know, you want to work with and you want to help and you want to guide and, you know, be with them for the whole of their career. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's massive. And you touched on a few things there that probably maybe me and you, because we're from the same era, we probably didn't get that from like agents. I mean, I didn't really have an agent anyway, just because I didn't really want one. I never signed an agreement with an agent. I know a few kind of ex-teammates did and whatever. And you hear these stories where you sign a contract, you don't even know what you're signing, you're just happy that someone's like looking after you in inverted commas. But then you find out they're not even looking after you. So what you're saying there is like you're looking after the players on the pitch, but also off the pitch as well. So you've got that kind of well-being, you've got that general connection. Like you're not there just to like, not as a yes man, you're gonna probably put them in the right direction, maybe tell them things that they don't necessarily want to hear or agree with, but in the long run it's going to benefit them. So I think that's massive. So many agents are out there just, I mean, I'm not killing off agents because there are elements of the game that need agents, obviously, but you hear the stories where they're just kind of money grabbers and they're only after you when you're kind of flying, when everything's running well, and when things aren't and you need a club or whatever, they don't even pick up the phone. So it's good that you're obviously looking after the players.
And I think, you know, like, I mean, the agency I work with is Sports Management International, so SMI for short. And, you know, I think all of us are ex-pros. We're all ex-pros and we're all ex-teammates at some, like whether I've played with the director's played with it, but we've all played with each other or against each other. So we've all got that kind of relationship where that, you know that trust you have with people in the changing room. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's very, 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 very important part of what we are. And in terms of going to games, I think we like attend, well, up before this pandemic, it was like something like 400 or something live games from the start of the season up until, I think it was like October or something like that.
Wow.
Like it was a lot of games. Put it this way, we'd have carried on at the rate we was going, we would have surpassed 1,000 games.
Jesus.
Do you know what I mean? And that's all of us, because we've got everyone dotted. You know, myself in London, we've got a team in the Midlands, Birmingham. You know, we've got people in Bristol. Obviously, the core of the company is in Middlesbrough. Do you know what I mean? Then, you know, we've got people, you know, in Exeter, around that. So we can geographically, you know, wherever someone's playing, there's always someone there to support. And I think that's what's been the biggest thing. Like I've been to 90% of Lyle's games, like myself and the company. And I think that is what's been massive, because you know yourself, Dan, like you said, when you got an agent, I was lucky my agent come to my games 3 or 4 times in a season. Do you know what I mean? So the rest of the time, out of a 30, 40 game season, even though I would speak to him on the phone, or how did you get on? I could tell him what I wanted. Like, this one didn't pass, this one didn't do this one didn't do that. Blame everybody else apart from myself. Whereas where we're at the games and we're there visually, like, it's very difficult to pull the wool over our eyes. Do Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what's helped, and that's what helps a lot of our players. Like we look after Robert Snodgrass, again, someone that we've had from Livingston through to Leeds, through to Norwich, through to Hull, through to West. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, not many players would have their agent as their best man at their wedding.
Mm.
Yeah, and it shows you the way we work, because it's not just about business. You know, once you become part of us, it becomes a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because we've been players. We know what players want. We know what, you know what I mean, the support they like and what they need. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's not always just about, you know, right, sign off a lucrative deal, see you later. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, you want that aftercare. You want it to be personable, and obviously you want to have that bond like you used to have in the dressing room.
Yeah. And it's more important, like, even like now coming towards the end of people's careers, like, right, you know, what are you thinking about doing? Like, I don't think I ever had that conversation with my agent.
No.
Like, I come to the end of my career and I was just like, that's it, that's me, innit? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we, you know, a lot of the boys who finished their career, they've jumped on board with us.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's an avenue for you. Do you know what I mean? After you finish, you know, if you want to go into something, can we start making a plan to support you in that? You know what I mean? And I think that's what's, you know, really, really important. That's what's a massive, massive plus for us as a company.
Okay. And then in terms of that company, I'm sure I've heard of it before. Is it run by Lee Matthews? Is he involved in it or something?
Lee's the director. Yeah,
because I've come across him before. I can't even remember where, to be honest. It was like years ago, and I remember like one of them. I don't know if I played against him or something, but I remember like seeing him a few times. I can't remember, but the name obviously popped into my head, and then I've seen a few bits online with regards to the company and that. So so it seems like you're doing good things, and that's like it's really good what you're doing. I think it's really important. What's your typical day like, or your typical week?
To be fair, it's I mean, it's been a bit strange now. Like, obviously pre-pandemic, you know, a typical week would be, you know, going to games. Like, get to as many games as you can in a week. You know, I get to maybe 3-4 games in a week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's standard, you know?
It's a lot of games.
And it's a lot of games, but you know what it is? I enjoy it. I love it, you know?
Yeah.
I love going into, you know, I love going to games and bumping into people I've not seen for like X amount of years. And how you doing? You're right. What you up to? Oh, you know, I'm a coach here, or I'm doing my A license, or I'm into this, or I'm into that. Do you know what I mean? And you know, we're quite a unique, you know, people, and I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit as to what we've done.
True.
And what we've achieved. Do you know what I mean? Because I surely didn't. I just saw myself as a boy from the hood. Do you know what I mean? Grew up. I mean, people that's doing life. People. You know what I mean? That's just my lifestyle, and I just happen to play football.
Yeah.
You know. And I've had a couple situations where it could have gone, you know, left for me. You know, and football has been a massive, massive savior for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's turned me into a decent person.
Yeah, it's true. It's true what you're saying in terms of like reflecting on your career and giving yourself credit. Because, I mean, we only kind of briefly touched on we only briefly met up when we were younger. So we don't really know each other, but we only know each other from a perspective of football. So for me, like in terms of how I am, I always used to see myself as like me first and then the footballer second. But then it wasn't until I kind of retired from football and it was like, okay. And then you start talking to people and they find out that you played football and they ask the general questions like, who did you play for? And it's at that point you realise, actually, even though I didn't like sustain a career in the Premier League or the Championship, I actually did all right. And obviously...
You've done... Like, you're done in, like, 100 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, someone's going to look up, you know what I mean, your name, and it's going to say what you done.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and that, like, that is the long and short of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know, and I think sometimes the reason why we don't credit ourselves, because we never had that career in the Premier League. We never did that, because most people support Premier League teams. You ask, who do you support? It's only when you go out north or you know, Midlands and things like that, people support their clubs where they're from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you know, like I look at it like, you know, at the end of the day, whatever club I've played for, there were supporters that were there that, you know, whether they like you or not, on a Friday, they're planning their weekend to come and watch you.
That's true, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that is what I didn't realise until way later on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's you know, and I realise now, like, I did achieve something.
Yeah, massively.
Do you know what I mean? You know? And I think that's what's, you know, what I say to people now, you're still in the game, like, enjoy it, man. Make the most of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Make the most of it. Do you know what I mean?
I think there's so many elements in the game, it's even now to this day, where players sometimes don't get to enjoy it. It's kind of, okay, well, game tonight or game today, played, on to the next one. And then it's like, sometimes you don't, it's only, I mean, when I was playing, I used to love it. And obviously there's elements to it, like the nights out and Christmas and whatever else, and socialising. That's when you kind of enjoy it. But then when you're playing, sometimes you're thinking, you'd see it as a job, when indirectly, yes, it is, but there's people coming to watch you. It's like you're in the entertainment business. So it's more so latterly, like towards the end of my career, where I kind of relaxed more. I was always a relaxed person anyway, but I kind of thought, okay, well, I'm going to actually like go out and just enjoy it. Because sometimes you can kind of think about it too much, like, okay, well, I need X amount of sleep, I need to eat this, and then you go out and you play rubbish. So it's like, okay, well, what's that all about? Because I'm doing everything right. And then the next time you have 4 hours sleep, and then you go and get MOM. So it's like, so I started to think a little bit more when I got towards the end of my career. I was thinking, this isn't me giving people advice. I was just thinking, well, let me just try and eat maybe a fry up before a game and see what happens. So I did that.
Just do what's you. Like, at the end of the day, just do what's you. Because I've had those ones, Dan. I've had those ones where, like, right, I'm going to eat this. I'm going to get to bed by 11 o'clock. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then, do you know what I mean? I'm going to, like, be ready, like, for the game. And then the game starts and you feel like you're not starting the game as sharp as you pictured in your mind. And you're like, bloody hell. And then another day, you're just like, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. Do you know what I mean? And you go out and you have a great game.
Exactly.
You know, so I think, and that is, again, it's the people you got behind you. Like, you know, a lot of us were having not a team. You know, like you look at boxing, for argument's sake. Like, they've got a team around them, a team of people that gets them prepared for what they need to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at MMA fighters. You know, they live, they dream, they everything's around their team. Like, sometimes in football, because football's such a selfish sport in a sense where it's every man for themselves. Like, unless you get on with someone in your team, like, no one ain't coming to help you.
Nah.
Because you're taking you playing well is taking another man's. Do you know what I mean? You know, I was never like that as a player, because as far as I was concerned, if someone's doing the job, they're doing the job. Like, and I always, to be honest, with me, more or less wherever I played or where I went to, like, I should have been playing. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd proven myself and done what I had to do. And there was times when I went down. I remember when I was at Port Vale, and I'd done something stupid. I had 18 goals before Christmas. I broke a 50, right, Now, I had done something in training, messing around. The gaffer told us to go in, we'd done enough. And me thinking, you know, whatever, I was just like messing around. And I made a run towards the near post, doing some little finishing with the boys after. And I jarred my knee.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I couldn't believe it, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to hit 20 goals. I'm going to hit 20 goals. And I jarred my knee and I was out for a month. Right? And I remember one of the boys who I was playing, who's other striker, who obviously took my place. And he had a game and, you know, he wasn't doing too well in the game. And I went downstairs into the changing room and I grabbed him by his head. And I said to him, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get yourself, come on, believe in yourself, get yourself together.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because it was hurting me to see him not do what I know he could do, what I've seen him do in training.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that was me wanting him to do well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
whereas somebody else would be sitting there thinking, you're having a nightmare, you're having a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't that kind of guy.
That's good, you
You
know.
know,
'Cause not
even
many
at
people
Leeds.
would do that.
Well, even at Leeds with Beckford, you know, I was there to play. Me and Tori and J Flo, we was there to play.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
both got injured. Like, and when when Beckford went on that mad one, like, what, sitting at home, like, I was happy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good,
Do you know
mate.
what I mean? Because I'm thinking, like, you know, boom, when I'm back fit, like, you know, we can maybe play together. We can strike up. That's how that was my. Maybe that was stupid. Maybe that's naive. I don't know, but I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm not wishing bad on nobody. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good mentality to have, to be honest. Like you said, in football, many times people sitting in the stands injured or just not selected, hoping that the player in their position doesn't do well, maybe even gets injured, hopes the team loses so that it reflects badly on the gaffer and things like that. It's a tough industry to be in. I always say to people, like, it's not all rosy like it sometimes comes across in the media. Or
it's tough. But then that's why mostly me and Lee Matthews are so close. Yeah. And now, how many years later, we're working together, because when I got to Port Vale, like, he obviously he you know, he had an outstanding career in a sense. He come up through Leeds, played for England, like, was on the, you know, bench, European Cup, like, Champions, like, do you know what I mean? Like, he, you know, went to Bristol City, like, he played with some flipping top names, right?
Yeah.
And went to Bristol City again as a big, you know, big name. Then he came to Port Vale, and, you know, he had injuries.
Yeah.
And when I came in as a striker, like, he was one of my biggest supporters.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So it just shows you, like, he had the same mentality that I had.
Yeah.
He weren't sitting there thinking, oh, wow, big, like, he was, and that's how come me and him became close. And you got to think, Port Vale, 2006. Yeah. We're now 2020, and now we're working together.
That's good, mate.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the bond, and you know what I mean? Where, you know what, this guy had my back, and I've got his back. Do you know what I mean? And that's how we are as a team. You know, we've got Clayton Fortune working with us. We've got, you know, a lot of the boys who were all good and close.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we know the trust amongst us is there. You're not like these other agencies where this one's trying to nick that one's player. This one's talking about, I'm going to do something to do that.
Yeah.
Those conversations never happen in our to be honest with you, the banter in our group chat is just on another level. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine. Yeah.
But we're all serious about what we're doing. In regards to what Lee has built up from the ground to where we are, to where the company is now, is just what him and Mark O'Byrne, who's the other director, and, you know, what they've built up and, you know, incorporated us all into is phenomenal.
That's good, mate, and long may it continue, because it seems like you've got a good setup and a good team bond there, and that can only bode well going forward anyway. In terms of you,
100%.
Like, do you miss playing?
Do you know what? I did for a little while, and every now and again you watch a game and you think, I think I went back to Millwall and I was on the pitch. I was pitch side for something. I think, you know, I didn't really play at Millwall, but I was part of the squad. So, you know, I got a medal for something. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, the team was quite a big team them days with Stephen Reed, Tim Cahill and all those boys. And I stood on the pitch and the boys were warming up, and I very nearly ran on the pitch because I was like, you know what? This is the smell, you know, that, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I love what I do, man. I like, you know, when Lyle scores, I feel like I'm scored. Like, I just, like, you know what I mean? I love seeing players, like, achieve, you know what I mean, and reach their potential. Like, I love it. And that's why I say I don't look at this as work. It's something that I enjoy. I'm passionate about it. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's
You
good.
know,
That's
so
good.
yeah.
Brilliant. And then, like, in
I
terms of,
still play vets though.
oh, really?
A little bit, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm actually going back to London this week to
Okay.
play
Wow.
in a vets game on Sunday. Do you know what I mean?
You're good. I retired when I was 31, and I'm 40 next year. But like, I haven't put on a pair of boots like since. I haven't ran since. I haven't sprinted. I used to be fast. I don't even
Serious?
know if I'm fast anymore.
Yeah,
I,
you was yeah. I know. I remember you had pain.
yeah. So I don't even know because I've lost weight. I've lost a load of muscle. But sometimes I think, I wonder if I'm still fast. Like, you know, when you just have that burst of pace, like 15, 20
Yeah, yeah,
yards,
yeah,
and then continue.
yeah.
So that was me. But
You look like you still play though, like in your
I
like,
know.
you know what I mean. You look well. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm one of them lucky ones. I must have good genes or something, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I haven't kicked the ball in vain since, to be honest, and I don't
Yeah,
miss
I
it.
love it, man. I love
Yeah,
it. I still moan. I moan like
yeah,
fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? My missus would tell you, you know, Arsenal's on the TV.
yeah.
If something don't go the right way, you know what I mean? She's like in the kitchen, think like, what's the matter with you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mad.
but yeah, I mean, I love the game, man. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'd always love, and if as long as you know, what I mean, like I said, I don't have no desire to, you know, turn back the clock 20
Mm,
years or whatever it might well be. But you know, if I can still play vets and do what I'm doing, and you know, a little five-a-side here or there, I'm all in because you know it's gonna come a day when I physically can't do it, and when that day comes, it's gonna hurt.
yeah, nah,
Do you know
that's
what I
true. I
mean?
know what you mean. I've heard a few people kind of say the same thing. I know we touched on it earlier, but like in terms of your transition, like what was the process for you? Like, was it your injury that stopped you from playing, or was it something else, or?
Yeah, the injury I could never get back. I mean, I
Mm,
think I knew when I went to Boston.
yeah,
Um, and I was just like, we was doing a warm up, and it was doing like jumping up, like that, you know, high knees jumping
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
I couldn't even do that. I could
Wow.
put no weight on my left leg, and
Mm,
I don't know, man. It's just I was trying to
mm,
keep it, like trying to, and I just couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? And it just got
yeah,
to a stage where I had to just knock it on the head.
okay.
Do you know
And
what I
how
mean?
how
And
was that process for you? Like, how was the transition away from
oh, it
football?
was difficult, man.
Mm,
Like, because you know, I went through a lot that time. I finished football. Um, you know, kind of come to an end of you know a relationship with my first son's mum.
okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
You know, a lot of stuff happened. You know what happens when you know you spending money and you're doing stuff. So a lot for 2 years, I
mm,
just kind of just like was just collecting my thoughts.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was
Mm,
like, wow, this is actually over.
mm,
This is over. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I tried a few things. You know, I was working in the school. I was like doing like as a like PE teacher and mentoring.
yeah.
I worked in an institute like with bad kids.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And I was doing okay with that.
Mm,
And then yeah, I started speaking to Lee. Like Lee was just like, look, you know, just you need to jump on board, like you know what I mean, and
mm,
come and do this. And I was like, and ahhing, and then I went into it, and I've never looked back. And then obviously I started my academy,
yeah.
just as something to do in the daytime. Obviously, you jump into your agency, you're not gonna just jump in and bake. Can you put in the shoe in his mouth? This kid, I don't know what's the matter with him. Yeah, right. And he's, you know, you're not gonna just jump into the agency and start making shitloads of money and things like that. It doesn't work
Yeah.
like that, and I
Mm,
don't think it should work like that. I think you need to earn your stripes. And I
cool.
treated the agency work like, you know, when I started at football, when you're on
Yeah.
like a few £100,
Mm,
you know, and then you get your head down, you graft, and that few £100 turns into, you know, a grand, and that grand turns into two, then it turns into three, then four, then wherever it goes, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
and I think that because you appreciate it more,
Mm,
do you know what I
yeah.
mean? And I think this, you know, you're a bit older, bit more maturer. So, you know,
Mm,
like when you it's funny because when I was at Leeds, I had like Delph as a young boy,
Yeah.
15, and we were just talking. He was just saying, like, I remember you, Lee, coming into training every day, had a different Ralph t-shirt on, and I remember when I got my first pro contract, I went down to design the shop flannels,
Yeah.
and I just literally bought every single colour and spunked all my mummy. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, when you're a footballer, that's what you do, innit? Like, you get your money and you just want to buy the latest, this, that.
Mm.
Now, we're family men, we're businessmen, do you know what I mean? So when you make money and you earn money, it's about, right, how can I support my kids, or, support my, do you know what I mean? It's a completely different process now.
Yeah. Different mentality.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, the transition was difficult because more on my personal intellect, on not dealing with, what, football's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mate, you might need to downgrade the car you're driving, but you still want everyone to feel like, yeah, you're that guy. You know what I mean? You're still, and the smart people, I remember seeing a guy, I won't mention no names, but I remember seeing a guy, he thought he was coming towards the end of his career at Leeds, where he had a few injuries. I think he thought his next move from here, it's not going to be the money that he's on at Leeds.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, one day he was driving an Audi A6 or whatever it was, I can't remember. And I just see him coming with a Golf.
Wow.
Like a nice Golf, but just a Golf. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, like, what's all that about? Like, do you know what I mean? But this is him mentally preparing himself. Right, you know what? Those monies might not be available anymore. So I need to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be paying money out for, like, some big car.
Makes no sense.
You know what I mean? I need to start sorting myself out and start to, condition yourself for the next chapter.
Well, that's it.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what I didn't really do, because I come in so late. I mean, I didn't turn pro till I was 21.
Oh, okay.
And didn't start playing properly till I was 24.
Yeah. So
do you know what I mean? So
you had a bit of a scenario, like a bit like Jamie Vardy and that, because with me, I was always like kind of schoolboys and then apprenticeship and then turn pro. So I did it the generic way. I mean, that story there about the car scenario, I mean, that's pretty much like myself, really. I mean, not everyone's different, and you can't really tell people what to do anyway. But me, I remember when I was living at my mom's, and I had my first car was like a Citroen Saxo, and then my next car.
The car, though, man.
Yeah, it was a good car. No, I was 17.
People won't know that, now.
Yeah, I was 17, so that was a decent car. It was brand new as well. And then my upgrade after that, after 3 years, was I was like, I don't know, yeah. So I was saying 19, 20. I got a BMW M Sport 325. But I could afford it. I was living at my mom's still, and I was like at Bournemouth at a stage as well, because I was in digs. But then when I left my mom's and I bought an apartment, I had to downgrade. So at that point, I'd upgraded from the 325 to a brand new 5 Series. But then when I got my flat, I thought, nah, it's not happening, because I had to pay a mortgage and everything. So I went and got a Ford Focus. And people looking at me like, you had like an M5 or an M Sport 5 Series, and now you've got a Ford Focus. I just said, look, at the end of the day, I've got an apartment that I bought. I still need to live, and I still need to travel to like Boston and that, because that's where I was playing. So I was living in the Midlands, traveling to Boston every day, ridiculous miles. I ain't putting that on the 5 Series. So that was my mentality. So
no, but you know what it is though, and that is you're mostly like one of a few, you know what I mean? Like who might have had that mindset, do you know what I mean? Because everybody else, you are kind of thinking, well, you know what, I've worked hard, you want to enjoy it, you want to enjoy it a little bit, and you know, like it's just silly, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, you got to think, like, there's a time you're earning like, and the problem is the gulf between what people earn in clubs. Yeah, like that's where you can get sucked in. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because you got a man that's on 20 grand a week, and a man that's on 5. Now the man on 5 is trying to do what the man is on 20 doing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And before you know it, you're gonna run into trouble, because these are 2-year, 3-year contracts. And then when you acquire that outgoing, and then you go somewhere else and your money gets halved, all of a sudden you're in trouble. You're playing catch up now.
Yeah.
You're playing catch up. Do you know what I mean? And that's what ends up happening. I remember thinking, earning like £1,000 a week. Like when you first get to it, you're like, wow. Like then you go to another club and you feel like you're signing on.
Yeah.
Like, but then you're looking at like, you know, lawyers, solicitors, doctors who earn like 50 odd grand a year and live a lovely lifestyle, but they doing it over 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're doing it over a 2-year contract. So if you don't manage that money properly, like you will, that's why it's, what is it, 70% of footballers bankrupt?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I was never lucky enough to earn like thousands anyway. I was more so like hundreds. So I was always like, not penny pinching, but I still made mistakes because you've got to a situation where you've been trying for years to make it. And then you get to that level and you think, well, I've got some money now. Yeah, I'm going to save a bit, but I'm going to enjoy myself and spend. So that's generally what I did. You make mistakes because you're still young anyway. Everyone makes mistakes, but I can see with you, because obviously you played for some bigger clubs, which I'll touch on shortly. But you're going into a dressing room now, and everyone's wearing like designer gear, like head to toe, doing this, doing that, nice flash cars. Not even one car, like different cars. And then you try to keep up with them lot, and then you can get sucked in easily.
Sucked in massively, massively. And like you said, very rarely have you got that person.
Yeah.
You know, like every club you go to, there's always this so-called financial advisor. They're all full of shit.
Yeah.
They're all full of shit. They just latch them to football clubs and they help you sort a mortgage out. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. But no one really, really, really shows you, you know, what you should be doing.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And I think this is what's important now with our players, like, you know, like that side of it, like, and knowing what they're doing with their money and making sure they're not getting into gambling and things like that. Like, we're shit hot on it, like, you know what I mean? That's not happening on our watch.
That's good, mate.
Do you know what I mean? When that's not happening on our watch, you know what I mean? And if we find out, you know, there's going to be problems because we know where it can go to. You know, and with all this mental health stuff, the biggest thing I think, if you come from nothing and you finish with nothing, you know what I mean? You're used to it. You struggle, you know what I mean? You're up one day, you're down one day. You see, when you get to that stage where you make something and then you lose it, it's very hard to recover from that.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Very, very hard to recover. Do you know what I mean? Because you just spend your whole life thinking, what if, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very important now, like, especially with these young boys, you know, the money's different to when we played as well now, Dan, you know what I mean? Like, these guys, you know what I mean? They're earning, you know, can you imagine what you've been earning now, Dan? Like, with your pace, you know what I mean? Your trickery, like, like, you know what I mean? It's a lot different, but it is what it is. We are where we are, but I think, you know, that's the support that's important for us as well as a company. You know what I mean? Making sure the players are good on and off. You know what I mean? The pitch.
That's good, man. And in terms of, because we touched on it at the start of the show, like you played for some massive clubs, Leeds, you had a brief spell at Millwall, Brentford, Port Vale as well. I mean, what was it like? Because I know you had a long career and you played for loads of clubs, but like one that stands out for me is Leeds. And I know kind of the period that you were there was some good players there. You mentioned Beckford and other players like that. So I played at Leeds, played at Ellen Road before in my younger days when I was at Leicester. And like, it's a club that I don't know why I like them. It may just be the fans and how kind of involved they are in the club. Like, they love their club. I know every fan loves their club anyway, but Leeds just seems like one of those clubs, like similar to Newcastle as well, like just ridiculous. What was it like to play there?
What you just said there is important. They love their club because in hindsight, I was a flop at Leeds.
Okay.
Because I came there with a big reputation. I got injured. I was out for 7 months. Do you know what I mean? And what was disappointing, because obviously the money was really good. And I remember I signed the papers I was in Dubai.
Okay.
I was in Dubai, and you know the papers got faxed over and everything, and I was like, you know what? And I sat down on the sun lounger and I said to myself, do you know what? This is where the hard work starts.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? The most money I'd earned, I was like, you know what? I'm going for this, because I scored 27 goals at Port Vale. I was just thinking, I'm definitely going to score goals at Leeds.
Yeah, of course.
Especially with the client, with the personnel there and everything like that. Like, hands down. Do you know what I mean? And I came back for pre-season and I was on it.
Yeah.
On it. Flew over to Germany, got into a little tackle with someone, no pain, went to get up, just helped the guy up. I helped him up, he helped me up.
Yeah.
Then I just started walking funny. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
Mm.
Tried to run, couldn't run. So I walked off the pitch. Went out that same night though. I had one of them recovery boots on, them stabilizer boots, yeah? Went out downtown Berlin, jumped up and down on the stage. It was fine. Everything was hunky-dory. Was getting treatment for the rest of the time out in Germany. Got back to Leeds and was doing like hot and cold, balance work on my ankle. And then one day, I was about to go out for a jog. And then one day, he went to like obviously massage my ankle, just blew up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went for an emergency X-ray, and I cut my fibula.
Jesus. So all that time,
I remember like a tear come to my eye. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'd never broken anything in my life, innit? So, do you know what I mean? I was like, huh? That don't make no sense. And like the doctor was like, look, we get this with rugby players. Rugby players play on, they don't even know sometimes that do you know what I mean? He said it's just one of those things. And then I came back, got back to fitness, and the thing, remember that it's a different level now. So we was doing like 1,000-meter runs, like times 6, times 7. Absolutely killed. I had to do all of that again.
Jesus.
Right? So psychologically, it was difficult, right? Like sit-ups for like 9 minutes. Wow. I've never done my sit-ups are like sets of 20.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Like, we would do it like, and that's how Dennis Wise was. He's very meticulous in what he does. And so that was hard to get over. I had to do it again by myself, and then came back, got my debut at Ellen Road, scored. And I remember scoring. I run celebrating. I kissed the grass. I was like so happy finally. Like, do you know what I mean? Broke my toe in that game.
Wow.
So I was out for another month. Yeah. Then came back. We was at home to Oldham. We're 3-0 down. Yeah, first half at home. So you can imagine the crowd were going crazy. Remember, we get like 27,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? And I'm driving Dennis Wise mad. I'm like, come on, man, put me on the pitch. Come on, man. Like, I've got goal in me. I've got at least 2 in me. I've got 2 in me. Like, so anyway, we're 3-0 down. So half time, he goes, go and warm up, blah, blah, blah. You're coming on, start the second half. Whistle blows second half, literally 10 or 15 seconds in, I score.
Nice.
Yeah, diving header, landed on my arm, broke my arm.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous.
Like, so, yeah, and that was me. That was me, like, and I just couldn't get my head around it, because I was just like, you know, I mean, the physio said to me, listen, I've worked with like Rio Ferdinand, I've worked with all of the, I've never seen a man work as hard as you've worked to get back to fitness. Because even though I was on good money, it weren't about the money, man. Like, I wanted to be a success at the club. Do you know what I mean? And it just didn't work out for me. But, you know, just coming off track, like, or going back on track, sometimes I've got Leeds supporters that add me on Facebook and things like that. And sometimes they'll say, you know, like if I post a video, they say, oh, you know, I remember you and da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, they say nice things. I'm like, ah, man, I was and they're like, once a Leeds player, always a Leeds player.
Wow. That means a lot.
Do you know what I mean? And I like, you know what? That club there is a special club. I was a different personnel there now. I don't really know anyone down there now, but like the club on a whole, when they got promoted back to the Prem, I was so happy because just for the city and for them supporters, you know what I mean? Like, you go to the airport, the amount of them that travelled out to Germany, we had to change our game last minute because we had so many supporters that was clashing with the Germans.
Yeah.
Like, they're behind you, man.
Wow.
All the way.
That's mad. I mean, yeah, I understand the fan situation, but in terms of the, like, playing side, that must be so frustrating because you've worked all those years to get to that level, and then you just end up getting injured. And I'm assuming you probably never had like injuries like that before in your career, anyway.
Never had anything.
Wow, that's crazy. And then, so in terms of like, because I know obviously you've got fond memories of Leeds and whatever else, and then you played like throughout the leagues as well. So you played like lower down and stuff. How did you find it, kind of leaving Leeds and then kind of dropping down the leagues? Because for me personally, like when I had to drop down the leagues, I found it difficult mentally, as in the players, the playing style and the players. A lot of them weren't on the same wavelength. The whole playing style was different. To be honest, I was quite lucky when I dropped down because I ended up playing for teams that tried to play football. But inevitably, you play these other teams that probably weren't trying to play, and you're playing on poor pitches and things like that, and that can impact your performance. So that side I found quite difficult, and obviously the whole surroundings, like the stadiums and training facilities and things like that, which sometimes do impact your performance as well. So I don't know if that was the same for you.
100%. I mean, you know, Ellen Road, like, you know, or, you know, Thorpe Arch, which is the training ground for Leeds. And, you know, like, we'd be out training and the physio should, like, run you a bath. Like, do you know what I mean? With bubble bath in it, Radox, your shorts and your towel would be laid out for you. Do you know what I mean? All the kits, as much shorts as you want, is just there at your disposal. Do you know what I mean? The food was just, you know what I mean? Top of the top notch food. You know, there's a jacuzzi, sauna, swimming pool, like, do you know what I mean? Like, indoor dome, like, everything you need. Like, there was times when I had my dog up and it's like, look, you know, if you've got your dog, you need to bring him in, just bring him into training. Do you know what I mean? We're walking for you. And
wow.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like a different, it's just a different world. And obviously, because I've come up through, I think if I'd have started at Leeds with all of that and then went down, I think that would have been difficult. And that's why I said when I got to Leeds, I said to a lot of the youngsters, you know what, guys, make the most. Because you lot are in a, like, you know, under 16 schoolboys, youth team. Like, this is all you know, innit? Yeah. After here, like, because a lot of you ain't going to go the way into the first team. Like, you know, there's kids at, like, League 2 clubs that start off from under 6 that don't go away to the first team. So let alone at a big club like Leeds, you know what I mean? So I said, listen, make the most of it, because you see, after you leave here, it ain't like this everywhere. Do you understand? And that sometimes takes a long time to get your head round. So, but because I'd come up through hard times and then got to that pinnacle, when I went back down, like, so I went to Northampton, it wasn't as bad in a sense where I couldn't get my head around it, but it was hard to motivate because the training ground was just, you know, it weren't even looked after. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, when I made the decision to go to Northampton, I weighed up everything. I was like, I played at Northampton Stadium, decent stadium, decent pitch. Do you know what I mean? Nice little club. Akim Fenwa was there, and me and him had always done well together as a partnership. It was closer to London. So I'd spent all my time out of town. Do you know what I mean? And it was closer to London, you know, than most of any of the other clubs I've been at. So I thought it ticked all the right boxes. I think that was mostly the biggest mistake I ever made. I mean, the only bonus, I think, was I got to play with Carl Walker.
Okay.
Because he come on loan from Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you know, you know, I've got some good friends like Ian Henderson,
Yeah.
Giles Coke, Abdul was, you know, a few boys. You know, we had a good set of boys. The boys weren't a problem.
Yeah.
The manager, he just didn't help me at all, man. Didn't help me at all. Do you know what I mean? He made a big deal when I first come down. He's like, this guy's, you know, he's left Leeds, he had a year left on his contract. Do you know what I mean? And he could have stayed there and waited it out. And maybe in effect, that's what I should have done. I should have just stayed there, because the manager who took over, Simon Grayson, actually tried to get me on loan to Blackpool.
Right.
Before I went on loan to Oldham.
Oh, okay.
And the only reason why I went to Oldham is because Oldham guaranteed me 7 games. And because I've been injured for so long, like, I just needed game time, because I just like, you know what, I need to get fit and I need to play. And Blackpool, they was in the Championship, and it was like basically coming to sit on the bench and come on, and do you know what I mean? But ultimately, if I'd have stayed at Leeds, like, for that year, but you see, with me, I was one of those, Dan, if I'm not going to play, and do you know what I mean? Like I said to you, most clubs I've been at, in myself, I know, like, I'm good enough to be in that 11. So when you're telling me, or you're trying to make up excuses, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm like, cool, I'm out of here then.
Yeah, that was me as well. And I played with loads of players who would just hang around just to get the money or whatever, or because of location.
Yeah.
Me, I always believed in my own ability. And if I wasn't playing, it's probably because I'm coming back from injury, or maybe I had a few bad games. That's fine. That's different. But if I'm playing well,
that's different, and
then the manager's taking me out of the team. I remember a couple of times when I was playing for, I was at Kettering, so towards the end of my career. And I got man of the match twice when I was there. I only played like 10 games towards the back end of the season or something like that, because I joined really late. And every time I got MOM, the next game I didn't play. I don't care what sport you're in, that doesn't make any sense. Anyone in football will tell you, if you get MOM, you're the first name on the team sheet the next game. But I never played. Twice it happened. I thought, the first time it happened, I thought, that's weird. Second time it happened, I thought, nah. So whenever I wasn't playing and there was like no valid reason behind it, I was looking for another club. Whether I had another year, or 2 years or not, I would look at.
Yeah, that's me as well. That's me as well. But sometimes you got to sit tight sometimes, because, like I said, if I'd have stayed at Leeds after Glenn McAllister got the sack, because that's where it all changed. Gus Poyet went to Tottenham. YZ, it just wasn't the same once Gus had left. Do you know what I mean? And Gary McAllister come in, and there was an incident happened with Beckford. I won't go into it, but incident happened anyway. I jumped in, and after that, I was the marked man. You know what I mean? I wasn't ever going to get a chance down there. And then I was just like, you know what? I ain't sitting here. Do you know what I mean? I still had like a year left, and then ultimately he got the sack, and then Simon Grayson come in. So if I'd have waited, you know what I mean? My fortunes might have changed. My fortunes might have changed. But, you know, you came to Hereford. What was that manager's name again?
Oh, man.
John.
No, you're thinking of John Truick, who was the assistant manager.
John Truick.
Yeah. The manager was
Chris Turner.
Chris Turner, that was it.
Right. So I was there when John Truick took over the job.
Oh, okay.
So he just took over the job. And I went in there, and I'm like you, like, I've gone in there, I'm training. I remember Chris Turner pulled me before the first game of the season, away to Morecambe. He's gone to me, look, what are you doing here? And I was a bit set about. I was like, wow, like, it's a bit, like, you get me? He said to me, no. He goes, no, I've been watching you in training. I've watched you in pre-season games. He goes, you're too good to be at this level. What are you doing here? I said to him, well, I'm here because I'm here. Like, obviously, whatever I've been doing, this is where it's got me to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my head, I was thinking, wow, I've got someone they're in my corner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on top of that, remember, like, I was about to have my first child as well. So in my head, I was thinking, wow, this is going to be great. Anyway, the team didn't start off too well. And like everything, the strikers always get the blame.
Yeah.
And I was out of the team. And it was got to a stage where I was training. Cause I still, even though I was at the team, I still be professional. I still come in, I give 100% in training.
Yeah.
And he's pulling me every training session like, how do you think you done today? I was like, I done all right. You was magnificent. He was doing this every week. Yeah. Come a Saturday, I'll be on the bench again.
Makes no sense.
Like not coming on or coming on for like 5-10 minutes. And then like he brought this kid in, like called Craig King. From Leicester he came from.
Okay.
And this kid he scored 1 goal in 20 games.
Wow.
And this boy was playing every week.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got a chance in the team. I think I scored 2 or 3 on the bounce. And then we was doing team shape and I was in the team. I just said, you know what? I said, I can't work with this, man. Like, you're taking the piss now. And the same thing happened at York. Wow. Coming to the team, I was smashing it, yeah? I went there under my old manager from Port Vale, who, he said to me, look, Leon, obviously you've done great for me at Port Vale, but I've not seen you for a little while now. I need you to come in and train for a week and see how you get on. Do you know what I mean? I went up there, I trained 1 session, and he offered me a contract.
Wow.
All right, he said to me, I clearly can see you're the same player that I had, blah, 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 done. First 2 games, I scored, debut, scored again. He got the sack. New manager comes in, starts his bullshit again. And then, again, sitting there, not playing. And then one day, striker got injured.
Yeah.
So I've come on the pitch. I've scored. Yeah.
Yeah.
Started the next game. Scored the winner. Then scored again. I think I had 4 in 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We went away to Luton. Yeah. We went away to Luton. Right. Like when you're sitting down doing the team sheet went up. I'm on the bench. I've scored 4 in 5.
Madness.
Right? Everyone went like this. The team sheet went up. Everyone went like that, Dan. I sat here like this. You could tell my face don't lie.
Yeah.
If I'm vexed. Right? He's not even pulled me to tell me nothing. Yeah? And I remember that game, it pelted down with snow. I'm talking like the games could have got called off, yeah?
Yeah.
And that is the first time, Dan, we got beat 5-0.
Okay.
And I sat there on the bench and I had a smirk on my face. And that's when I knew, I said, in my head, I was saying to myself, I ain't got too much of this left in me because that's not me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, if I'm not in the team and we're losing, I'm vexed, just like as if I was playing. Now I'm laughing because I'm like, you know what? I'm laughing at the manager. I'm like, you know what? Good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't even get on the pitch. I didn't want to come on anyway. It was the weather. It was horrible. We was getting our ass tapped. Yeah. And I said, you know what? Sod it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just said to myself, you know what? Like, I just don't think this game's for me. Like, every minute the guy was like, you know, Leon playing the whole clever player, getting to his feet. Everything you want to hear.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He done the same thing to Andre Boucard. He had me and Boucard sitting there like plums.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean?
And this is the side of football that people don't necessarily see. They just see players on the bench. They don't know why they're on the bench. They don't know what's happened in training. They don't know kind of what the manager's motives are. A lot of the time, some managers will say things to the press and then say something else in the dressing room. And that's just how it is in football anyway. And it's tough.
Yeah,
like,
they're liars. A lot of them are liars.
Yeah, I've been in the situation where everyone knows you should be playing. Your own teammates don't lie. Like, you get judged real quick in football. If you come in to a new team and you ain't performing, people look at you like sideways as if to say, like, what you actually doing? Like, so if you're playing well, the same thing, people will praise you. But if you're not in the team and you're playing well, people will question that. And then that's when managers start to lose the dressing room and things like that, and a whole heap of kind of craziness can happen. But just popped into my head now. The Hereford manager was Graham Turner. I think you said Chris, but it's Graham Turner.
Oh, Graham Turner,
Yeah.
innit? Yeah, I thought, Graham Turner, that's it, yeah.
He was a
Because he
decent
actually
manager.
owned the club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a man's man.
Yeah, he was decent.
He was a man's man. Do you know what I mean? He was okay. Just John. No one liked him.
he was different.
No one liked John Truitt. You know what I mean? And that's mostly why you never heard of him again. Do you know what I mean? Because he's just one of them, the biggest snake you'll get in football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a story that time when I came on trial at Hereford. I was only there for like 2 weeks, and there was a story where I don't know if you remember, the training rooms got robbed. We had like building work happening at the ground at the time. Remember, we'd get changed at the ground.
Yes, and then yes.
So at that time, I think I had like a few £100 in my wallet because I was gonna do something after training. And then I came back and I noticed my wallet hanging out of my jeans on the peg, and I was like, I don't leave my stuff like that. Check my wallet now, nothing in there. And then everyone started checking their stuff, and money's going and trainers are gone and that. So I thought, what? So we've been robbed. So anyway, I went to see John. This is just a random like conversation anyway, but gone a bit off piece. But I went to see John, and I literally said, look, someone's like taking my money out of my wallet. And I remember him eating at the time, didn't even pause. He carried on eating when I was talking. And I think he had his feet on the desk, and then he was like, I can't do anything about it. And I'm like, hold on, like people have had stuff robbed from the dressing room.
That is him.
The club's premises, and you're now telling me that I need to go and like speak to the secretary and try and see what they can do. And in the end, I didn't even get all my money back. I think I got a portion of it, and it took like about a week or two for them to even agree to do it.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
Doesn't even surprise me. Doesn't even surprise me with him, because I actually think I remember that vaguely, because I think I was always one of those guys. I didn't really leave nothing in the changing room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I had my watch and things like that.
Yeah.
I'd always take my stuff with me. You know what I mean? Or leave it in my car, because I just think, you know what? I've been at a few places where that's happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for me, I mean, knowing my temper, if I found someone that actually took something of mine, I wouldn't like to know what I would do to that person.
Well, that's the thing.
Because I think that stinks. That stinks. I mean, like, do you know what I mean? Because usually, like I said to you before, we got that bond in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though, you know what I mean, like you come in, we not know each other like that, but you come in, you're coming into part of our thing, which means you could have been here for 2 weeks, but it's like you've been here from the beginning of the season. It's about integrating that person into what you're trying to do in it, because ultimately, when you go on that pitch, we all got to be on the same page.
That's it.
So when you've got someone within that nucleus that has the audacity to go into your pockets and take things, and this is not people that are broke, like a crackhead. You know what I mean? Right? He's on the gear. He's on the guy. He's gonna do what he's got to do. But these people are like, they're earning money. Might not be as much as you, but they're earning money, and they see fit to come and take yours. For me, that's I can't have nothing to do with you, man.
It's horrible. But the thing about it, I don't even think it was any of the players, because we were all training.
Might be one of the build.
Yeah, I know there's a couple injured boys in that, but I'm sure it must have been like one of the builders. Randomly, the dressing room was open and stuff. Because I remember they always used to say afterwards, "Oh, don't leave your stuff in here because we don't lock the dressing room." And I'm not a man to carry cash on me anyway, so I thought it's going to be safe in the dressing room rather than leave it in my car. And that's probably the only time I'd ever have like that amount of money on me. And then for me at that point, I was unemployed, so I had no club, traveling to Hereford every day. It's like petrol money. The club weren't paying me ever. Trying to get a new club, which is hard anyway. So for them, for John Truitt to then say that, and I'm not bad-mouthing John Truitt, but I'm just saying, look, I was expecting more from the scenario.
It's the truth. At the end of the day, I'm not here to badmouth nobody either. All I'm doing, I'm telling you, we're just talking. Like,
that's it.
And I mean, it's the truth. That's it. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? The geezer wasn't a good guy. When it's not like,
honest,
if you said that about somebody else, and I would be like, wow, I'm surprised because he was normally like this or he's normally like that. But with him, he just wasn't a good guy.
See, I didn't really have that much time with him. I was at Hereford as a player before, like I think 2006. I signed like towards the end of the season, and he was assistant manager then as well. So I only had like a short spell with him, and he was always okay. He's just like, as coaches go, he was all right. So I didn't.
Fake. That's what they like. That's what these people are like. They're not in your face.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, you know what I mean? Because when I ain't gonna lie, the pre-season I done with him was mostly one of the best pre-seasons I had. Because, you know, some pre-seasons, there never seems to be any science behind it. It's just go and run, do this, run, do this, do. You know what I mean? With him, everything was ball related.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I remember saying to the boys, because I've obviously been at a few clubs, I said to the boys, look, boys, like, you know, we're lucky to have a manager that is not just getting the whistle out and run here, run there. Like, they're, you know what I mean? So put 100% in. Don't, because we're doing ball work and we're doing like the keep ball session, just stand in the court. You know, you got them players just stand in one place and wait for the ball to come. I said, like, put something into it. Do you know what I mean? Because it could easily be the other way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Do you understand? Because I've been at a place where I've done some difficult pre-seasons. When I respected him for that. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be a good marriage.
Yeah.
But like I said, once the season started and everything just changed, the geezers just, you know what I mean? It's like Jekyll and Hyde, you know what I mean? It just went a different way. And like you said, he's got no empathy whatsoever. Like, your money's gone missing. Not even to say like, bloody hell, like, you know, like in short, or can we speak, like, what's going on? Are we going to have an inquest? Get all the boys in and see what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just,
nothing.
you weren't bothered.
Literally, I was in the office for about probably a minute, and he just said, look, I can't do anything. So at that point, my head's spinning because I'm thinking, I'm ready to kick off, but I can't because I'm looking to get a new club. So I've got that going around in my head as well. And I'm just like, it was just a horrible scenario, man. It weren't nice.
Yeah.
But coming towards the end anyway, like, in terms of players, athletes in general, when it comes to retirement or transitioning away from your chosen sport, do you think like more needs to be done? What are your thoughts on it?
100%. 100%. I think it's too much left in the air to the individual. You know, PFA, we've got these courses, that course, and and blah blah. It should be compulsory. When you get to a certain age, there needs to be a support mechanism. Right. Boom. What's your interest? What was you doing at school? What was you like? Do you know what I mean? If you wasn't doing football now, you've had a great career. You weren't doing football. What's your? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people have to do it because it's getting too much. You know what I mean? If you're not fortunate to make a shitload of money, you have to go. And even if you do, if you're earning $3-4 grand a week, but living a good lifestyle, like, you are gonna have to work.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? And I think when you playing in front of 30,000 people, you do get caught up. Like I said to you, £1,000 a week, you're thinking like, that's not no big money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. If you was going to get a job now and they said they're going to pay you £1,000 a week in the normal working world, you'd be a happy man.
Of course. 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I definitely feel like there's a lot that needs to be done. I definitely feel like financial support as well. You know, if you sign a 3-year contract and you're on X amount of money, I believe, Dan?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I think my battery's coming to 1 second. Yeah, I believe there should be some support in place, like that. Right, okay, you're earning this amount of money. Yeah. This needs to come out of, like a pension, basically. Like, this needs to come out of your money and goes into your binge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I believe that I think there should be something that's put in place, for that to happen, because too many footballers, and you can't blame them. A lot of these people, they're young kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? they're coming from parents who've come from nothing.
Yeah.
So if you're earning good money, like, you are going to get excited.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? You are going to get excited. You are going to make mistakes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, so I think that there definitely has to be more. At the minute, it's just it's just left. We put on a course here, we do this, we do that, and blah, blah, blah. You know, when you coming towards the end of your career,
yeah,
there's loads of stuff going through your head. Like I said to you, I went through 2 years of my career, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no one talking to you about, look, Leon, what are you going to do? Like, you know, you're at this age now, you've had a few bad injuries. You know, what happens, like, if you don't reach those levels, you know, that you were at when you was at Port Vale, for argument's sake. You know, because if you don't reach those levels, your earning capacity is going to go down to this. Your outgoings are this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when there's so much money in the PFA, you've got flipping Gordon Taylor being paid. You know, he's got £4 million like pictures in his office. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, put some of that money back in. Like, you know what I mean? We contribute massively to this sport. You know what I mean? Whether you're in the Premier League, like I said, League One, League Two, you know, you're just as important, because that supporter, I mean, I've got a guy on my Facebook. Like, I didn't even realize I actually took a picture with this kid when he was about 6 years old.
Okay.
And now he's like 16, 17. And then his dad's sent me a picture. Like, my son's never forgotten about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's massive.
Of course it is. It's massive. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, like, when you're doing those kind of things, you're important. You're important. We're part of this game. You know what I mean? And, you know, so I just feel like it's not to say you got to throw money at people, but I think the support for players should be compulsory, not just left like to whoever decides to be smart enough to go on a course or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
That's true, yeah. And at the end of the day, a course isn't necessarily for everyone anyway. A lot of players now, especially when I was kind of younger anyway, like coming through the academy, you just get put on these courses and it's just like a bit of a day off. No one's really taking any interest. So from that perspective, it doesn't make any sense. So something definitely needs to happen. And there's enough money and infrastructure in the game to obviously make that come into fruition. It's just frustrating that it's been taking so long. It's not really talked about that much. In terms of yourself, like in terms of your transferable skills, what have you taken from football into kind of your academy, into your kind of agency work? Because I know obviously the agency side of it is there's still elements of football that you're involved in, obviously, but you see the side of it now, it's more, say, business. So what have you taken in terms of transferable skills from football to kind of... I
think, and this is what I think a lot of us take for granted, you know, when you're a professional footballer, like I always say to my kids, and this is something they can't get their head around, you know, in 13 years as a pro, you know, barring a handful of times where there might be a catastrophe on the motorway, I was never late.
Yeah. I say this almost every week at home, and people don't understand what I'm saying. They think I'm crazy, but yeah, sorry, go on.
They don't understand it. Like punctuality, like what I'm saying to you, Dan, if you work in a normal job, yeah, like you say, you got your job now, and your lunch breaks at 12. Your lunch breaks at 12 o'clock, yeah, until 12:45, which means you've got 45 minutes to get to where you want to go to have something to eat, yeah, and eat it and get back to your desk, right? Now, if Nando's opens at 12 o'clock, yeah, you say to yourself, right, my lunch break's at 12, so it takes me 5 minutes to get to Nando's, order my food, that takes another 10 minutes, eat another 10 minutes, boom, I'll be on my way back. If you get to Nando's at 12 o'clock and it's not open, are you happy?
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Because now what ends up happening now, that 5 past, 10 past, yeah, right?
Gone.
That now means, well, I can't go and have a Nando's now, because by the time I order and I get my food and eat it, I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get it in the ear roll from my boss. You know what I mean? So that's, those skills what I took for granted, like not needing an alarm clock to get up in the morning. I'm still like that now. I can get up. I set my alarm just in case, but I don't need an alarm clock to get up. Do you know what I mean? If I'm going somewhere, I like to know my journey, like, right, which way do I go? I don't like to just take a chance. Oh, I thought it was going to take me half an hour to get here. When it's taking you, do you know what I mean? So punctuality, I think, how to talk, being confident to talk to people. Do you know what I mean? Like in my job now, like obviously I'm talking to people that I mostly wouldn't talk to on a day-to-day basis, but because in football, you go into a changing room, you've got to develop some confidence in yourself. Do you know what I mean? And know how to kind of fit in and deal with different people. Some people might come from up north, some people might come from down south, mid, like, do you know what I mean? I think football, it's helped me in a sense where I've traveled all over the country, all over the world. So sometimes I might meet someone and they might be a northerner from up Leeds. And like, oh, I've been to the town centre. I know Wetherby and I know, straight away, it's a icebreaker. Do you know what I mean? So straight away now you can form relations with people. So I think football's helped me massively on that one. Like I can deal with people from different walks of life because I've got some experience, with dealing with people from those different areas. You know what I mean? Around the country. So I think like that's helped. That's helped. I mean, now I'm kind of improving a little bit more organising. Obviously, with football, you always organise yourself in terms of, what you need, your bag and things like that. So when it comes to like now, I'm going to London on Saturday. Like I know Friday, I'll pack my bag and pack everything I need.
You sound like me.
Do you know what I mean? So I think, I think it's helped me, a lot of normal life, day-to-day skills that we take for granted. I realise football has given me a discipline that's helped me outside of football.
Okay, that's good. You made some good points there. Last question. Like in terms of advice, what would you say to not just the youngsters, because everyone talks about like giving advice to youngsters. What advice have you got for like any sports person? We talk about football naturally because that's what we used to play. So let's just focus maybe on that. What advice have you got for like any footballers out there now?
My advice for people going into football, getting into the game is, look, it's a lovely game. It's a beautiful game. You have to prepare yourself for ups and downs. Like, no matter how good you are, do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to it's going to be a roller coaster. Like, when you get into football, you've got to ask yourself, are you prepared to put yourself through that? Do you know what I mean? Because I think people see people score goals and they do this, they do that. And my biggest thing, especially with youngsters, and this is something, I'm going to go a bit off topic, but I think it's an important point, especially with this kid that's just in light of what's happened with this kid the other day that's took his life. Okay. Parents, friends, partners play a massive, massive role when it comes to football and trying to fulfill that potential. Because as a youngster, you go into a club. Let's say you see yourself at Leicester. I guarantee you, when your parents' friends come round, every conversation, how's Danny getting on? How's Danny getting on? Is he still at Leicester? Oh yeah, he scored. Oh, he's with the first team. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. You're the end of everybody's tongue. All of a sudden, Danny gets released from Leicester. Parents start looking at you because they're thinking, boy, you're not that serious about this game, blah, blah, blah. So you've been released from Leicester now. All of a sudden now, those friends and family come round, they don't even mention your name again. Do you know what I mean? They don't even like, because Danny's not playing football no more, they're not even like us. You know what I mean? It's like you don't even exist.
To be fair, I was quite lucky because my parents like they were old school Jamaican parents. Like, so when it came
Yeah,
to
but that's what I'm
football,
saying to you. Them old
yeah,
school ones
yeah,
who weren't really into football like that. But we're talking about a new generation now.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Most like, was your parents born in Jamaica?
Born and bred in Jamaica. So like now, like
Right. So were mine.
so my parents are like, well, my dad's passed away, my mom's still alive, and she's like, when I say old school, she was like an old mom. So when you hear about these young boys now talking about, oh, when I go to my grandma's, I get this nice food and this and that, and go to church, that was my mom because she was like an older mom. So I had that every.
Yeah.
So nice food, and my education wasn't necessarily academic. It was more so about life skills. So when it was about
Right.
football and all that, it was like, okay, fine, you play football. People telling me you're good at football. I don't know because I haven't seen you play. But is your room tidy? Are your clothes clean?
Yeah.
Like, are you?
Yeah, you was brought down to earth, innit? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you could be scoring a goal at flipping on a Saturday and come home and do your chores at home. Like, do you know what I mean? It was very much like that. But we're dealing with a generation now of people who are born and bred here. So their affiliation with football is more so than our parents were.
That's it. Yeah.
So you've got. Sometimes I hear conversations. I hear parents saying, "Yeah, that's my ticket. That's my lottery ticket."
Ridiculous.
Like talking about their child.
Yeah.
So when their child doesn't make it or doesn't have that career, I'm talking to a parent like, I know this kid. Yeah, I won't mention his name, but I know this kid. Was a lovely kid. Wouldn't say boo to a goose. Every time you see him, he's just, hi uncle, you okay? Polite, smile, blah blah blah. He was at Arsenal. Now his dad's a football man. Yeah. Was at Arsenal. Got released from Arsenal. Yeah. Next minute, this boy's ended up at my academy program. Now I'm talking to like his yacht leader. Like he's a youth offender. Been caught with knives, this, that. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute, this is not the same kid I know from 13. Yeah. So when I spoke to his dad, yeah, well, you know, I was driving him up and down, taking him to Arsenal. It's not my fault when he got released. Yeah, I put the work in. I'm not doing it no more.
Wow.
So in my head, I'm saying to myself, hold on a minute. Your son's been released from Arsenal. You know, Dan, when you get released from a club, yeah, even though we know thousands of players get released every season, yeah, you feel like you're the only person in the world, that's going through that difficult time, yeah. So now, this boy, he's now looked on from his dad as a failure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not like if you got released from Arsenal and your son goes and gets a club at a non-league club, you still got to support him.
Of course.
So now this boy, he's just walking around like an angry young man. And it won't surprise me if he ends up in jail.
That's sad, man.
Do you know what I mean? And this is a boy that was polite and love. And this is what I'm trying to say to you about being important. Like, people try and say to my son, you're going to be like your dad. No. Don't tell my son he's going to be that. He's going to be who he's going to be. If he decides he wants to be, like I've said to my son, my older son's got good feet, yeah? Right? But when he was playing football, it was very much like he doesn't run towards the ball. He waits for the ball to come to him. So one day I said to him, I was outside just talking to his school teacher. I said, look, Leon, he's got the best feet in the school, but he just doesn't. I said to him, do you not want to, if you don't want to do it, yeah? Like, you don't have to do this, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever you want to do, I'll support you regardless. I've had my career. I'm not trying to live my career through you.
That's it.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I think a lot of parents, they put the pressures on their child, like as if, he's going to make the money, he's going to look after me, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, blah, 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 da-da-da-da-da. And as soon as he doesn't fulfill that, what they do, they throw him straight into another fire. Right. Need to get him Charles. Get him Charles here. Get him Charles. Speak to your child. Find out how he's feeling. Maybe he needs to take a step away from the game.
Yeah.
Because then you go for a trial, you don't get in. Another disappointment. Then another disappointment. Before you know it, how many ex-footballers you know with talented football, they end up selling drugs and on the road?
Yeah.
Because no one was there to sit there and talk to him and say, you know what, look, son, maybe football's not worked out. Yeah. You know, what else can we do? Do you know what I mean? Maybe you can get a trade, or maybe you can play semi-pro or do something and still enjoy the game. Do you know what I mean? But have that conversation with people. And that's what I think my advice to some of these youngsters is you need the right people around you, not just obviously a youngster. It's not for them to have the right people around them. It's for the parents to be, do you know what I mean? I just think the support for these young players coming through needs to be a lot more.
Massive.
You know what I mean? There's too much pressure.
What about players coming towards the end of their career or just bad injury and they're looking at probably another career elsewhere? And what advice have you got for them?
I think again, you just got to kind of, you know, analyze what you want to do. Like, I've got a friend of mine, like he signed a 2-year contract. He said to me, look, I'll be honest with you, Leon, I know after this 2-year contract, I'm never going to earn, even if I earn a little bit more money, it's going to be a couple hundred quid. Yeah, I mean, it's never going to go to Premier League money, life-changing money, right? So he invested, he put his money into a course and passed out on the trains.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Now, he had the backup of that, and then he started doing a bit of the agency work, and the agency work's going well for him. But if anything ever flops for him, he'll go into the trains on 30 or 40 grand a year.
Happy days.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think. When you get to that level, you have to start looking about what you're gonna do. Like, I mean, and that's why I said to you, it has to be compulsory. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, boom, these are your options, what you want to do, and start making that plan. Because, like you say, once you get to 31, 32, mate, your career can stop. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not everyone don't play to 35.
True.
You know, I remember 35, you're still a young man. You know, look at Malvin Kamara, started his own IT recruitment company. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we've got so much transferable skills as footballers because we're confident people. Do you know what I mean? We deal with a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? Geographically, we know how to get to a lot of, you know what I mean? We've done a lot of things.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? We know how to, you know, you dealt with, like, harsh environments. Do you know what I mean? Which means you can survive in any environment.
That's it. 100%.
Do you know what I mean? And know how to adapt yourself and maneuver and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. No, I've enjoyed the chat. Like, appreciate you coming on, and obviously we spoke for quite a long time, so I appreciate, obviously, you've got a family and stuff, so I won't keep you much longer anyway. Really enjoyed, obviously, some of the things that you mentioned, great insight into kind of life as a footballer, essentially. In terms of yourself, where can we find you, like, on the socials? What's your name of the academy, name of the agency that you're working for again? Yeah,
so the agency is SMI World, so that's Sports Management International. You can find us, you know, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Myself, you can find me on, like, Leon Consta, that's my Instagram, and my Facebook just Leon Constantine, and my other Instagram for the academy is Constantine's Development, Constantine's Academy. So LC Development Academy, you know, we're looking to be starting, you know, in the next couple of weeks, really. Obviously, we've moved this pandemic and things like that, and there's a couple of little things we've got to put together on the website. But, you know, we're going to push forward with that. But yeah, so, you know, just keep following, man. There's going to be a lot of information coming out on my Instagram. That's what I'm on a lot, Instagram. So I'll be posting a lot of information and videos on that, really, in regards to the academy. But in regards to the agency, man, we're at games. We're always, you know, looking for the next up and coming youngsters, you know, and support these guys for their duration of their career, not just these short-term fixes, you know, 2 years, jump to somebody else and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Once we jump on board with you, you know, we're looking to work for the long haul.
Good stuff. Brilliant, bro. Like I said, nice speaking to you, and obviously good luck going forward in obviously what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I really enjoyed it as well, Dan. Really good to see you as well, bro. And we'll keep in touch, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Speak soon.
Yeah. All right, you take care.
You too.